I never imagined my first run-in with the HOA would end with me hog-tied with zip ties in my own garage, staring down a woman in a power suit holding a neon green clipboard like it was a sheriff's badge. And the kicker, she's live streaming the whole circus to her little army of neighborhood watchdogs' faces I barely knew, but who already looked at me like I'd shown up to the block party with a flamethrower. That was 3 months into what was supposed to be our dream move to Oak Ridge Meadows, Texas. But instead of sipping iced tea on the porch, I felt like I'd walked straight into a twisted reality show where the grand prize was my sanity. Let me back up a sec. I'm Alex Thompson, 15 years grinding away as an engineer at General Motors before I finally struck out on my own with this prototype battery technology, something I truly believe could flip the electric car market on its head. That day in the garage with those plastic cuffs digging into my wrists was the boiling point of a nightmare I never saw coming. It started so simply. My wife Sarah, brilliant marketing mind patient enough to put up with my late-night tinkering, and I packed up our life in the city. We loaded up our 12-year-old son Jake and rolled into Oak Ridge Meadows thinking we'd finally nailed the jackpot. Big, clean yards. Streets safe enough for Jake to ride his bike till the streetlights came on. And for me, a glorious 3-car garage where I could work on my pride and joy, a custom black Mercedes S-Class sleek on the outside, but under the hood, my life's work, my battery system, years of trial and error, sweat and caffeine. Sarah was glowing that first week. Alex, no more city chaos, just peace and you in your happy place without neighbors complaining about your tools humming, she'd said as we unpacked. Jake was even more excited. Dad, when can you teach me the battery stuff? I want to make my own Mini one day. He was serious. And for about 2 weeks, it felt like we were exactly where we were meant to be. Then the serpent in the garden slithered in. Her name was Linda Hayes, the HOA president, and she ruled Oak Ridge like a personal fiefdom. Always in crisp suits, oversized sunglasses, even when the sun was gone, and that infamous clipboard. She didn't just note crooked flower pots, she measured them. Lawns had to be exactly the right shade of green, like she had a Pantone chart in her purse. And sure, I understand keeping a neighborhood nice, but Linda, she took it further. She didn't just enforce the rules, she weaponized them. Our first clash. A Tuesday evening, I just finished a quiet test run of the Mercedes. That thing is so silent you can hear the leaves on the Johnson's maple across the street. I'm easing it into the driveway when, bam, there she is, standing in the middle like a human toll booth. Mr. Thompson, she says in that sugary voice people use right before they hand you bad news. We have a blatant violation. Quiet hours. Your vehicle's emissions are disrupting the peace. That's a $500 fine. I roll the window down, keeping my voice calm, corporate training kicking in. Linda, it's an electric prototype, quieter than a whisper. If anything, it's sneaking up on the crickets. She flips her clipboard dramatically, eyes narrowing behind the shades. Neighbors have complained about unusual frequencies, health risks especially to children. You'll need to park it indoors after 7 p.m. or else. And that's when I noticed her phone angled just right, snapping pictures, not of the car, but deep into my garage, zooming in on my equipment. My gut tightened. This wasn't about noise. This was reconnaissance. That night I lay awake next to Sarah, staring at the ceiling. Why the photos? Why the sudden push? By morning, after flipping Jake's pancakes and sending him off to school, I sat down with my laptop, typed Linda Hayes into Google, and there it was, her LinkedIn. Strategic consultant for Technova Acquisitions, a Texas firm notorious for gobbling up indie tech patents. And they didn't just buy, they coerced. 6 months earlier, Technova had tried to lowball me for my battery. I'd turned them down flat. Sarah leaned over my shoulder, coffee in hand. Alex, this isn't random. She's planted here. Think about it. Technova couldn't buy you out, so now they're playing dirty. And they were. Overnight, Linda became a one-woman propaganda machine. Emails blasted to the whole HOA urgent alert. Experimental vehicle poses electromagnetic threats. Think of the children. Suddenly, neighbors I hadn't even met were crossing the street to avoid me. But Jake, my little investigator, saved the day. One night while flying his drone for fun, he caught grainy footage of Linda and three unknown men in the HOA lot at 2 a.m. scanning under cars with strange devices, mostly targeting EVs. "Dad, look at this." Jake whispered, eyes wide. Sarah and I exchanged a look. This wasn't paranoia anymore. This was corporate espionage. A week later, I was taking the trash out late when I heard Linda's voice over the fence. She was on the phone, whispering fiercely, "David, we can't rush. This could blow up." Then a man's voice. David Whitaker, Technova's CEO, growled back, "Linda, this tech is gold. 5 years ahead of anyone. If GM sniffs around again, we're done. Use the HOA. Make him sell cheap." Her reply was shaky. "I've got debts piling up. A daughter heading to college. I'll push, but if this tanks..." Fear, not just greed, was driving her. And fear makes people reckless. That's when I brought in Harold Jenkins, our retired judge neighbor. His study smelled like old whiskey and leather law books stacked high. He listened, then said, "Alex, this is economic duress. Corporate coercion disguised as neighborhood rules. If you want to fight back, we'll need evidence." Evidence came fast. Jake's drone caught them again, this time planting a GPS tracker under my Mercedes, and one shadowy figure, Whitaker himself. We had trespass illegal surveillance, the works. Thursday morning, Linda showed up with 2 state inspectors flashing shiny badges. "We're here to seize the vehicle for safety checks," one said. But I played it cool. Called the real Texas DOT from my porch. They had no record of inspections in Oakage that day. Caught red-handed. I told them, "Gentlemen, or should I say Technova hacks your trespassing. And I've got your LinkedIn profiles right here." That's when Linda snapped. "You're endangering us all, Alex, citizen's arrest." And before I could react, she had my wrists zip-tied, holding her phone up to live stream her victory. What she didn't know, Jake was filming from upstairs. Sarah was on 911. Cops rolled up in minutes, cutting me free and hauling her off for assault and fraud mid-live stream. The clip went viral in hours. Had Linda Fail was trending. People remixed it with circus music. But I wasn't done. We organized a community demo in the park, rolled out the Mercedes, invited Dr. Emily Carter, an old GM colleague, to run independent tests right there. "This thing is cleaner than bottled water," she told the crowd. People started realizing they'd been duped. Then Linda crashed the demo, waving what she claimed was a court order. "Cease this hazard now," she shouted, arriving with a tow truck and 2 hired muscle. Harold took one glance at the papers, smirked, and said, "Forgery. Again. That's another felony." Jake, bless him, tapped a button on the car's display. Out came video after video. Linda plotting with Whitaker, talking about her debts, planning to plant evidence. The crowd gasped. Cameras rolled. Linda lunged at the car with wire cutters, only to set off its alarm. Sirens blared. Police showed up, cuffed her mid-rant. Her last words to me before being shoved into the cruiser, "This isn't over, Thompson. Technova is coming for you." It was over for her, though. 3 months later, she was serving 18 months for conspiracy. Whitaker facing federal charges after the FBI connected him to a nationwide ring targeting inventors. Turned out Linda's debt made her the perfect pawn, but her overreach made her the perfect downfall. As for us, we licensed the battery tech to Ford for $75 million, kept the prototype, turned Oakage into a green tech haven, HOA bylaws rewritten under Harold's steady hand. Jake's in a STEM program now. Sarah's consultancy is booming. And me, I'm back in my garage tinkering without looking over my shoulder. But here's the thing. I got a letter from Linda in prison. She apologized, said her fear for her daughter's future clouded her judgment, blamed the system. And I can't lie, it made me think. Was she pure villain, or just another person crushed by corporate greed, lashing out the only way she thought she could? So what do you think? Was Linda's biggest mistake underestimating us or letting her desperation blind her? Drop your take in the comments. If you've ever gone toe-to-toe with an HOA or a corporate shark, I want to hear your story. If you believe in fighting back, Share this with someone who needs a win and subscribe. Because trust me, I've got more where this came from.